Thanks for staying with us. I'm Ana Cabrera reporting from New York. And any moment now, President Trump will huddle with his closest advisors in a White House cabinet meeting. And we'll be watching for any comments about what's happening in Minnesota and yesterday's FBI search of the Fulton County, Georgia election warehouse. That's where Trump still insists, without evidence, that election fraud cost him the 2020 election. This has been litigated over and over, and 3 separate counts there in Fulton County, Georgia, all verified Joe Biden's victory. Fulton County officials are about to brief on that search. We'll watch for that and take you there when that happens. But also, in just a few minutes, Attorney General Pam Bondi is expected in her usual seat in the cabinet room. One of her U.S. attorneys filed yesterday's search warrant from outside Georgia. We'll have more on that in a moment, because the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, should also be at this cabinet meeting after making an unconventional and controversial appearance at Wednesday's FBI search. Lots of potential for developments this hour. Let's get right to our MS Now team. Josh Einiger on the ground in Fulton County. Also with us, political contributor Greg Bluestein of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, who was at the Fulton County facility while the FBI was on scene. And also joining us, national security analyst and former FBI special agent Michael Feinberg. Josh, the county commissioner says the FBI took pallets of ballots. So what exactly did the FBI take? Because this was an extremely broad search warrant.
It was a very broad search warrant, Anna, and it really had to do with all available ballots from the 2020 election. Notably, they did not leave an inventory list, which is typically the case. So exactly what was taken has not been made public just yet, but pallets of ballots, as you say, according to that source. We are waiting for county officials, as you say, any minute now to address what happened here, and perhaps we'll get more information from them. But let's take a step back for a second. These ballots were only here because of what has been described by a source here in Fulton County this morning as a gadfly lawsuit that was underway and has been underway now for years from someone who still believes in the now discredited theories of election fraud here in Fulton County in 2020. A judge had ordered these ballots, which ordinarily under statute would have been destroyed after 22 months, be held in the building behind me. And so that was why they were here in the first place. And then yesterday, of course, a U.S. attorney in Missouri filed a search warrant. The FBI came here and executed that warrant to take all that material, and they were here for hours taking those pallets away. A little while ago, we spoke with Jeff Duncan, who was the Republican lieutenant governor here in Georgia back in 2020. He's now a Democrat and running for governor. Here's his take on what happened here last night.
There's no fact pattern that shows that this is about facts throughout the entire almost 6 years now. This is about a political vengeance. This is about trying to prove a narrative that's not true. And quite honestly, I mean, they should have moved on. This isn't about what's good for the country. This is about what's doing good for Donald Trump.
A lot of fears among Fulton County Democrats this morning that all of this is an attempt to sow seeds of discontent and seeds of really make people question future election results here in 2026 and in 2028. Of course, we are waiting, as you point out, Anna, for Fulton County officials, the county the head of the Board of Elections here to address the press just in the next couple of minutes about perhaps more information about what was taken yesterday. Anna.
Josh Einiger, thank you for that. Keep us posted as you get more information. And of course, we'll be standing by for that press conference with the county officials. Michael, one of the people who's going to be given this briefing is Fulton County Commission Chair Rob Pitts. And about these ballots that were taken, he says, we don't know where they're being taken. We don't know what's going to happen to them. Again, pallets of ballots. How do we make sure these ballots aren't altered?
So normally there is a very strict chain of custody when the FBI seizes items pursuant to a search warrant. And that chain of custody needs to be offered up at court to defense counsel before the evidence is used. And that should list everybody who at any point had the evidence. Now, this is really going to get interesting, and I don't want to jump on something you're probably going to cover in a minute, but there was a pretty notable non-law enforcement personnel person there who was alone with evidence for some time, it appears, based on a photograph we've seen. And I don't know what's going to happen if they try and call her to testify, because she, by dint of her position, should have nothing to do with law enforcement operations whatsoever.
You're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence who showed up on scene?
Yes, and based on that photo, at one point she was in a truck with box loads of what are apparently ballots, which means if she was alone, she is going to need to be on the chain of custody for those ballots and explain to defense counsel why she was with them and what she was doing. And if there was a special agent in there with her, that special agent is going to be on the chain of custody and is probably going to get asked by defense counsel why on earth somebody was allowed to be with that evidence who is not a member of the FBI nor on the chain of custody.
So, Michael, let me interrupt
way,
you for just a second, and I'll ask you to continue, but we just literally got some information about why Tulsi Gabbard was there. This is per a Trump administration official. Director Gabbard has a pivotal role in election security and protecting the integrity of our elections against interference, including operations targeting voting systems, databases, and election infrastructure. She has and will continue to take action on President Trump's directive to secure our elections and work with our interagency partners to do so. What do you make of that explanation?
It doesn't pass the laugh test for anybody who's actually worked in this world. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, this was collection of evidence. There is nothing there that cannot be reported to Tulsi Gabbard once they have processed it, analyzed it, and finished doing whatever they were doing on site. Again, it is unheard of for non-law enforcement personnel to take place in the execution of a search warrant. Secondly, this is a criminal investigation. It is looking at past conduct. Even if we believed that Tulsi Gabbard should be involved in law enforcement actions relating to the security of our elections, that is only something that she would be doing if there was something happening presently or in the future. It is inexplicable that there was why she was there. There is literally no legitimate reason that she should have been on site.
So, Greg, there's now the DOJ, the DNI, the FBI, all apparently involved in this. It's a massive escalation.